everyone, and welcome to today's Red Corner Show. I'm Dr. Shamila Ramjawan, a global award-winning entrepreneur, founder of the Princess D Menstrual Cup, the Olympus International Awards, and the Red Corner Show. We are thrilled to be joined by Valerie Aura from Kenya, a dynamic journalist, communicator, and advocate whose passion shines through in everything she does. Valerie is deeply committed to health equity, gender justice, youth empowerment, and climate action. Through the power of storytelling, media, and advocacy, she has led impactful campaigns on cancer awareness, malaria elimination, non communicable diseases, sexual and reproductive health rights, and the fight against gender based violence. Her unique ability to blend digital advocacy with grassroots mobilization has made her a strong and authentic voice for social change and inclusive, healthier communities. Today, we will dive into her inspiring journey, her impactful campaigns, and her vision for a better future. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shamila, for having me and also for that wonderful introduction. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. I'm so looking forward to chatting to you. Such an impressive bio, and I think you're going to inspire a lot of people today. Just to start, can we just get a brief background? Who is Valerie?
Thank you so much, and also for this wonderful platform and for all that you are already doing. So, Valerie, I'd say the full name is Valerie Achieng Oluoch Aura, but in short, you can just say Valerie Aura, and some say Valerie Aura, still the same. So, just to start from where I was born to see, how the journey started and how I have come to now be here today. So I was born in Kenya, born and raised in Kenya in a small village called Kisumu, the western side of Kenya, where it's usually too hot and, we have a huge lake just around. So the environment was, really impressive and okay. So as a young child, I think I remember growing up very agile, and people would say in my community that this child is very active. I was already even in school. I was already active in the music festival, drama festival, organizing small events, forming groups to support, the my classmates, to just a small group to support to alleviate period poverty. So we had this small group. We were doing small contributions to ensure that we have the pads, the sanitary towels, so that anyone who was in need would get it. So I was the lead. So I was very active as a young person. And then also growing up, my parents, both of them are alive. They took good care of us and good care of me as well. So I think that environment, and also growing up in a family of 7, we are 7 siblings. So there was already a community around. So we chat every other time and listen to each other. And so that really made it possible for me to have this strong background of always being in the community, being able to listen to the society's ongoings, everything that's going on around them. So that's how I grew up, very active and joyful child, and listening to people. So it started a long time ago. I had this passion of just, joining in with people, engaging in activities. And so when I went to secondary school, it continued being active, drama, music, performing, being a student leader, being active, raising issues that are concerning the community and my people as well. So it's really been a journey, and we always say that things don't just start, they have to have a background. So that continued until campus. And so I became very active as well in campus, and everywhere I went, people always knew about me because I always interact with people and just getting to know where are the gaps in terms of where care is needed, what do people need, how can I air their views. And so I was the one people gave issues to go and raise to the authorities, to, you know, anyone that would listen. So that's how it all started. So when I joined campus, and so also considering my background, even though we were all raised at once, but there was a bit of violence in my home. And so that also pushed me, since when I joined campus, now I completely walked out from home and just continued my journey, struggling all the way to fund my education, do small jobs to cater for my needs as well. So when I walked home, there was a huge violence. And so I struggled to get, you know, a place to go, because I knew very well that even though I have a tight bond with my siblings, with my mother, but I wasn't so very much happy, and I really wanted peace. So when I walked out, I found it really difficult to even get a safe house to go to. But luckily, you know, I had friends that I contacted, because, you know, already I was in campus, and so I had a few friends. So I contacted them that I need to come. I can't stay home any longer. I'm just tired. So that's when now um, activism started, and it started with GBV, because, you know, when I was walking out, everything that I was seeing, no safe houses, no known places to go to, no known mental health support, no known, you know, these basic needs that you need when you are in need in such a situation. So I saw how there was a huge gap in you know, even raising awareness, people knowing about gender-based violence, not taking it normal, because in my society, again, it's something that's taken normally, that, you know, it's normal. Women must be beaten, women must be disciplined a bit, that means they are loved, you know. But to me, it was a bit different. I saw I can't take it normally, so I just started to, you know, create awareness on where, you know, people can get these services, people can know that these are not normal things, and women deserve to live in dignity. So that's where the journey started. I've really talked a lot, but
What,
yeah.
what an inspiring journey, you know. We're going to get into it in more detail later on. But I just think, you know, it's such an inspiring journey, and it's a topic that is so close to my heart as well. Well, twofold, period poverty and GBV. So I think, you know, we're going to have a really good chat today. But just to dive right into who is Valerie, being a journalist, communicator, and advocate who has dedicated your career to health equity and gender justice, what inspired you to step into the space of advocacy and storytelling?
Yes, and thank you for that question. I've already touched on it a bit, that, you know, growing up in my society, I saw all these gaps, all how people lack the basic services, even to get need healthcare. Um, the hospitals could be far, the facilities could be really far away, and also accessibility is a problem. And growing up in a family that was actually violent, because my father was very violent, and so seeing all these happening around me, and also just seeing also happening to me as well, because I was also a victim as well, because that very night when I walked out, it was a huge fight, and I was just trying to stop it, to try to talk sense, and apparently I was also beaten. So I said, no, this is the last time I am even being here. So that's how everything started. And so I realized that every time that I spoke to someone, you know, I was still in school in campus. So every time I talked to my friends, I talked to, you know, people who would listen. I listened to people who experienced the same. Even in campus, it was still happening. So I said, I shared my story. I said, you know, we have to come up and stop this and speak about it. So I realized that every time I spoke, people listened and were willing to help. They were asking for where they would support. And those are just young people, my friends, so that is how the journey started with storytelling. And so I said that if people could really share, we could create awareness, more people could be aware, more people could walk out. So I used to share my story, how I walked out and how I managed to be where I was at that point. It was not easy, but I used to share to encourage those who are willing to walk out, because it used to happen a lot even in campus, and people are opening up what's happening at home, what's happening with their friends, what's happening with their relatives. And so that's how we started sharing the stories and just creating a community for social support. And also when it came to health, I just realized that it's really difficult for people in my community to access, health. Even the public facilities, it said that it's free, but unfortunately it's not entirely free. So these are some of the gaps that we are trying to air out and see how people can get healthcare wherever they are. So that's why I just dived into storytelling. And so you see, since it started even before I joined campus, and I knew this is what I was going to do, it came really easily for me to study journalism. Yes.
Wow. That's so inspiring, Valerie, especially sharing your personal journey on the Red Corner Show. I think, that this is going to actually trigger off a lot of people out there who's going through similar situations or circumstances that will want to share their story as well, to try and encourage other people that there is life outside of GBV. And it is so important to share your story with us. So, and I can see what fuels a passion behind your advocacy in terms of creating all these campaigns and also the health campaigns as well. So you touched on that, but which of these campaigns has been the most impactful for you personally?
All the campaigns have left a mark one way or the other, but I know I would have said it's GBV, but I'd say it's cervical cancer, because that was something totally new. I had not known deeply about it growing up when I was young, about so much about health or about cancer and other non-communicable diseases. So when I was invited to support the cervical cancer campaign, and that one we did an entire year of consistent community and digital campaign awareness and also advocacy. So I was tasked with facilitating storytelling from the community of women, courageous women, warriors who've gone through cervical cancer and how they faced stigma. It's really, really, really hard, and how their family members abandoned them, even their spouses. And so they had to walk the journey alone. They were continuously being stigmatized because people didn't really understand. So when I was when they were sharing their stories, and so I saw immediate effect of people coming out to go for screening, and also beginning to understand what this cervical cancer is, why we should not stigmatize women going through cervical cancer, because anyone is at risk of the same. So these brave women coming out with passion to share their journeys, and encouraging, even other people who are not even able to speak out. For the first time, they came out and said, I have never found courage for 20 good years to speak out of my situation because of stigma. And unfortunately, the stigma starts from self, and then there's also stigma from families, from the community. So I saw very many women coming out to speak, to share their journey, to encourage people to go for screening. And immediately people were going for screening, people were getting support. The healthcare facilities were, in that community, Langata, it's around Nairobi, but it's an informal settlement just around. So this was real impact, and I really felt it. I really, really felt that. Yes.
And how did you actually overcome that in terms of advocacy and policy development?
Sorry, please come again.
with health being such a big challenge across Africa and in Kenya. So, how did you overcome the challenges in terms of advocacy and policy development?
The challenges are always there, and mostly it's getting the government of the day to support the campaigns and also to listen to the voices on ground, because most of them are not on ground. So some of the challenges would be to ensure that these services are brought to the community, so that we are the ones who even encourage the door-to-door screening. And so the healthcare facilities came out, and so we got the local governments to support, local leaders to support the on-ground screening door-to-door, which was not happening at first. And so many women were also willing because of the stories that we shared. So some of the challenges would be to penetrate, and also to allow to ensure that the government is in support of what we are doing. Of course, it wasn't easy at first, because anyone that is trying to somehow overpower the government is always a threat. So that really was a challenge. But again, through these stories, every other day, we humanized the statistics, and so they were able to listen to these women, and we went to the survivors, even the ones who are still unwell, just to plead for these services to be brought to the community, and also for them to be affordable as well, and mostly free screening, and also support with treatment for those who are positive for them. So those are some of the challenges. It was not easy. It took some time. Of course, in advocacy, it takes time. But eventually we started penetrating. So it's not really fully in, but we are still continuing to push. Yes.
Continuous work, yes. But that's very important. And thank you for doing what you're doing, Valerie. Identifying barriers is the first step to building practical and inclusive solutions anyway. And I'm glad that you're on the ground, you're working, you're being visible. It's all about being visible. And that is how the government and other stakeholders will see what you're doing and try to get involved as well. So I'm glad that you're also getting the buy-in from various stakeholders. So, gender justice is central to your work. What role do you think young people, especially women, can play in driving change in this area?
So also thank you for that. Most young people are afraid to join advocacy because first, they think it doesn't pay, and the results are not usually immediate. You don't get immediate results. It takes time, and it's a push and pull. It's really difficult. So most young people lack the patience to do so. But at the same time, young people have a very powerful voice. They are creative, and most of them are really energetic. And so we need their creativity, their innovation, their energy to this fight. So for young people, they can use their skills that they have. It doesn't matter which field you are in, but you can use your skill to support such advocacy efforts. And also they can come out to share their stories. There's a lot of stigma when it comes to young people sharing their stories of GBV, of struggling with some health issues, because um, naturally people think young people do not have so much issues, and some of them are silenced because it's believed that it's their fault. And so when they come out in large numbers to share their stories, and also people are going to believe, and also trying to hold the government or the stakeholders accountable, really pushing for this is an effort that young people should get into, because if they don't right now, then the future would not be favorable for all of us young people to be in. So it's really important for young people to get in, to share their stories, to hold government accountable, to mobilize even grassroots support, and also digital support as well.
Yes. I so agree with you. You know, the youth are not just the future. They're the drivers of change right now. And
That's true.
yes, and we need to instill these values in them and tell them, you need to share your story. You need to get involved on the ground. You need to work with us
Mm.
because we need you. We need
Ye-
you to know how you think, right?
mm.
So, just talking about climate action, it's another area that you champion. How do you connect health, gender, and climate in your advocacy work?
Thank you for that. I think they are all interconnected. In fact, all the SDGs are interconnected and should be fought, in that manner. So when there's climate change that negatively affects the community, health must be affected. We know malnutrition comes in, and also there are also mental health struggles. And so women, when it comes to gender, so women are the ones that are really mostly affected when it comes to such situations. So all of them are interconnected, and so we need to fight them as one.
You know, that perspective is eye-opening. It really shows how interconnected these issues are and why holistic solutions do matter, right? Um,
Yes.
you know, we spoke about the diverse communities you work with, so I'm not going to go into that. But what lessons have you learned about amplifying voices that are often left out of mainstream conversations? Now, we spoke about the youth, but other voices.
Uh, Sorry, I didn't get the last part.
So, what lessons have you learned about amplifying voices that are often left out of mainstream conversations?
Oh yeah, for the voices, I think we have not fully exploited all the voices in as much as there is media trying to cover these stories, but they don't do it consistently. You realize that, some of the days, maybe they just do the stories when it's, for example, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So that is when mostly you'll hear some of the stories more about breast cancer. But when it comes to the campaigns that we are doing, it's throughout the entire period. It doesn't come um, only on certain times. And so when it comes to amplifying voices and also uh, storytelling, we have to ensure that we allow the communities affected to tell their own stories, and our work is just to create the platform and tell the stories with them, not for them. So allowing them to also share their stories, and that is when we also get the solutions that they propose, because these problems start with the community and end with the community. So when we allow them to share their own stories, um, show how resilient they are and how they can come up with solutions instead of just sharing the part that they are the victims. So it's also important to share the resilience part of it and what they're doing to overcome such challenges. So it's really important to include every voice and ensure that they're the main part of the story. And so our work is just to amplify and not to tell the stories on their behalf.
Absolutely. True inclusion means making space for every voice, and especially the overlooked ones. So,
Yes.
as a communicator and journalist, how do you ensure that your stories or the stories that you tell not only informs but also inspires collective action? Have you seen results?
Uh, yes, for the stories, it's. I think stories are very powerful, and they are more impactful than sharing statistics, sharing, you know, the technical part of the health issues or the gender issues or the climate issues that people are really facing. So for stories, they have most of them, they have immediate impact. For example, when I shared about the stories of gender-based violence for people who are experiencing them, and other people also came in large numbers saying they had never talked about them. And also the stories of health, cervical cancer, breast cancer. So most of them, people are willing to come out once they hear other people share their stories. So I think that's great impact. And once they share, they are able to also share the solutions that they feel that can be implemented in the society. And so that really means that the solutions are community-centered. They're not just from outside, so they have to think for themselves because they're people who have experienced it. So I think that's really great impact, even in informing policy change. For example, when we are doing a campaign on the trans fats, regulation of trans fats to curb the increase of non-communicable diseases. So the community really came out to share how, what they really want. They wanted front of pack warning labels. We had to do small focus group discussions on what would work for them. And so they were the ones bringing it out. And so that was adopted by the government. And so we're just waiting for the front of pack warning labels. And this was through their stories that they shared about how they have been eating unhealthy food, not knowing what's in the food. So what did they want? They wanted the front of pack warning labels to be able to know what's in their food, and not the tough nutritional, content that are always behind the labels, that behind the product. So I think stories really impactful, and also helps in giving solutions and what can be implemented even in terms of getting new policies.
Yes, I like the advice around the youth, and how to generate these stories, and lead them on the right path as well. So we've come to the end of this discussion, and it's been so inspiring, and I really enjoy chatting to you. When you look at your journey so far, what vision do you hold for the future of inclusive, healthier communities in Africa?
For Africa, I envision an Africa where every voice matters, every voice is heard, and all decisions will not be made without the voices on ground. So as the saying usually goes, nothing for us without us. So just including, the communities involved in, when coming up with policies, coming up with even the laws, anything that matters to the society, we need to include their voices. We need to hear from them. What do they really want? What would work? And so what would not work? And also where voices are not just listened to, but also actioned on. So we see that many people would shy away from sharing stories and sharing their solutions or ideas because they feel like they will not be heard, they will not be actioned upon. So it's really important for us to build an Africa where everyone benefits from the healthcare system. It doesn't matter who you are. It's not a privilege to have, healthcare. It's a right. So it should be a right. And everyone should benefit from quality healthcare that is all inclusive. So I think that is my vision for a better Africa.
It's such a beautiful vision, and it gives us all hope for a brighter and more inclusive Africa, and that's what we pray for. Valerie, it was great having you on the Red Corner Show. Your last words, what would you like to share?
Thank you very much, Dr. Shamila. I'd like to encourage everyone to share their stories. Everyone has a story to tell, and young people to get involved in advocacy, hold the governments accountable, share your ideas boldly, and push for them to be implemented, because we are the voice, we are the now and the future, as you said, and also your stories are powerful and they can empower communities. Thank you very much.
I love that. What an awesome way to end the show. Thank you, Valerie Aura, for coming on the show and sharing your journey. It was really impactful, and I've learned so much from you as well. So thank you for that. And I'm sure you're going to inspire lots of people and they will want to follow your path as well. So thank you very much. To the audience watching this, I would love to have you on the Red Corner Show to share your story. So please contact me on the redcornershow@gmail.com. And you too could be sharing your story similar to Valerie Aura from Kenya. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Dr. Shamila.
It's a pleasure. Bye.